Imagine the world is screaming, the skyline is glowing for all the wrong reasons, and the travel document in your drawer is suddenly just a scrap of paper. You've seen the lists of safest paradises, but most of them were typed up by people who haven't stepped foot outside a climate-controlled office. Today we're stripping away the fantasy. This isn't about where it's beautiful to retire, it's about the raw physics of staying alive when the global order snaps. Here at Victor's Logic, we don't deal in vibes. We deal in the cold reality of where you need to be standing when the music stops. Because right now you're likely in the path of the storm. We aren't just drifting toward a cliff, we are currently suspended in midair. Look at the horizon in 2026. The South China Sea is no longer a diplomatic dispute. It's a shooting gallery where the world's superpowers are daring each other to blink over in Europe. A single line of malicious code just crippled a nation's power grid, triggering defensive pacts that were designed for tanks, not servers. The excuses are thin and the tension is thick. Meanwhile, the Middle East is a literal furnace. Strategic strikes on enrichment facilities have turned the Strait of Hormuz into a graveyard of tankers, choking off the lifeblood of the global economy. These aren't isolated fires. They are different corners of the same dry forest, and a single spark will merge them into one inferno. You might be tempted to pull up a search engine and look for a hideout. Don't bother. Those generic articles suggest places like New Zealand because it looks nice in movies. Distance is irrelevant if you don't have a plan for what happens when the ships stop coming. You need a survival strategy built on resource security, atmospheric insulation, and hard geopolitical data. At Victor's Logic, we look at the maps the military planners use, not the ones travel agents use. The first thing you have to unlearn is the city versus country myth. You think if you aren't in London or DC, you're safe. You're wrong. Modern warfare protocols like the GROM directives or the updated SOP frameworks don't just aim for the capital, they aim for the throat. That means targeting the places that keep a nation standing over a long-term conflict: the airfields, the communication hubs, the fuel reserves, and most importantly, the breadbaskets. Declassified intelligence shows that the vast farmlands of the Midwest are primary targets. Why? Because you don't need to nuke a soldier to win, you just need to ensure his children have nothing to eat. If a region provides a strategic advantage, it has a target painted on it. There are 4 horsemen that will actually find you in a global collapse. The first is the flash, the direct hit. It's the most cinematic, but statistically it only claims those within the immediate blast radius. Second is the silent traveler, fallout. Wind patterns can carry lethal isotopes hundreds of miles from a strike zone within days. If you aren't permanently upwind of a target, you're living on borrowed time. The third is the true executioner, the death of the grocery store. Most urban centers are exactly 3 days away from total starvation once the trucks stop moving. Finally, there is the ripple effect. It's the civil unrest, the local resource wars, and the vacuum of power that swallows those who thought they were far enough away to watch it. So where is the logic in staying? Let's look at the real coordinates. First, look toward the deep south of Argentina, specifically the wilds of Patagonia. This isn't just about being far away, it's about the air itself. The atmospheric currents create a natural shield that prevents northern contaminants from drifting south. Beyond that, the region sits on massive food and water reserves. In a total global blockade, Patagonia can sustain itself for a century. The trick is avoiding the major hubs like Buenos Aires, which will fall. You want the interior where there's nothing worth a missile and everything worth a life. Next is a place most people ignore: Paraguay. It has no coast for a navy to blockade and no major military footprint. Its secret weapon is the Guarani Aquifer, a subterranean ocean of pure water. While the rest of the world struggles with poisoned rivers, Paraguay sits on hydration. It's landlocked, quiet, and invisible to the people drawing up the target lists. If you want to disappear entirely, look at Bhutan. This mountain kingdom has no skin in the superpower game and tough geography. They've spent centuries perfecting subsistence living. When the global grid goes dark, the person who farms a mountain is king. Just watch the borders, but in a global exchange, Bhutan is a ghost. For those who need infrastructure, Western Australia, specifically Perth, offers a unique hedge. While the eastern cities are tied to military assets, Perth is secluded. It's an island within an island backed by its own energy and resources. It's one of the few places that could lose the world and keep lights on. Finally, consider the Isen region in Chile, with a population density that borders on non-existent and vast temperate forests. It's a fortress of nature. It has endless glacial water and hydroelectric potential that doesn't rely on a global supply chain. In every simulation of a nuclear winter, this coordinate remains one of the cleanest spots on the map. But here is the hard truth we champion at Victor's Logic. A map is not a shield. You can buy a ticket to the safest spot, but if you arrive as a stranger with nothing to offer, you are just another mouth to feed in a crisis. The ultimate survival tool isn't a bunker or a passport, it's being the person the local community decides is worth saving. It's about the skills you learn today and the roots you plant before the sirens wail. The world doesn't end all at once, it peels away in layers. 2. Survive the top layer. You must have already built a life in the one beneath it. Don't wait for the fire to start looking for an exit. Find the place where you belong. Learn how to be useful and start your journey now, because when the world finally realizes it's on the brink, the only thing that will matter is that you were already standing on solid ground.